Rockwall County Game Day. I'm here with Coach Webb. Coach, first, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today about some Hawks football. I know you guys have been doing things throughout the summer, and I'm sure lots of things that you're excited about. But now it's real. Now school's here starting next week, and it's time to get going. I wanted to talk to you about kind of last year leading up to this year. You know, if you look at the Hawks record, I don't think it tells the story of kind of what happened. I mean, overall 4-6, 2-4 in district, but if you look at the games that you played, and so many times it comes down to a play or two and things, but you know, some of the scores you lost by, especially in district play, one could argue that you could have gone undefeated in district. You could have maybe just dropped one game in district. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on you know, last year and you know, and what you guys kind of learned, especially some of the players that are coming back.
Yeah, so you know, you do bring up a good point. I agree. I think 4-6 was very misleading, and you know, in every one of those district games, we had a fourth quarter lead in all six, and we found a way to lose four of them. So, you know, my challenge to the kids coming back was that, you know, that needs to sort of light a fire in your belly to have the opportunity for a little bit of redemption this year, you know. And whereas last year we had a hard time finishing games, you know, one of our mantras this year is going to be finish, and we're going to, you know, we're going to make a big point of doing a better job of that this year. But we, you know, a lot of our team is back from last year, so a lot of those kids had that experience, and which is good and bad, you know. But we are really excited for this particular group of kids. A lot of experience, an amazing amount of leadership. We've got a very high football IQ this year. So I do feel like it's one of those teams that the sum can be greater than the parts.
You brought up some experience, some leadership. When you look at this district overall, and really, I think it's closer than some people think. You know, that you can look at certain schools and they may have some high profile players and positions, but overall football's a team game.
Yeah.
And so is it more of a combination of leadership and talent and just grit, or you know, what is it that can separate these things, these teams in this district?
Well, so I think, you know, my experience has been over the years, I've had the awesome opportunity to have coached some great teams. And as I've told our kids on this team, is that the best teams that I've coached have not always been the most talented teams. Now, talent obviously helps, so we want to have talented players. But it's the teams that have been the most tight-knit, the most driven, the fewest off-the-field issues. Those are the best leadership. Those are the teams that have invariably been the greatest teams that I've had a chance to coach. And then talent is important, but it's secondary to those things. So, you know, I do feel like if you wanted to measure the quality of a team by the number of Division I recruits they have or the number of commitments they have, things like that, yeah, we would probably be in the bottom half of the district predictions. But thankfully, high school football has never really been about that, and hopefully never will be about that. You know, it's about it's team. You know, it's the ultimate team sport. So we're going to rely on that this year.
When you look at the defensive side and you talk about guys like Luke Mitchell, Zeke Cannon, it just seemed like if you were at a game, their name was being, you know, over the loudspeaker for a tackle and things like that. The experience they have, and they're coming into their senior year, I believe. You know, how important are guys like that to make sure that the defense plays at the level, which I thought was really well throughout the entire year last year?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've got a ton of experience at our linebacker position. You mentioned Luke and Zeke, and then Carson Adams is an inside linebacker, and Landon Foster is an outside linebacker. And those kids are just going to be juniors, but they played a ton on the varsity last year. So having those second-level defenders that communicate with the front end and the back end is going to be really, really important. Just, you know, we actually have two quarterbacks in that class that we love. The other one that doesn't get talked about as much right now, Collins Jones, we think has tremendous upside as well. There's somewhat different styles of play between those two guys, but, you know, talking about sort of each one of them, Prosper, you know, yeah, Prosper's a dual threat. Prosper's got an electric arm. But the most special thing about Prosper is his extremely high football IQ and leadership and decision making. And he's just a guy that you want to have the total confidence in your quarterback on the field to be able to put your offense in the best situations, and he's really, really good at that. So, and then, yeah, the running ability, the electric arm, the ability to throw on the run, those are all just, that's just icing on the cake. And then Collins Jones is a little bit taller, a little bit more of a pure passer, but still athletic enough to make plays with his legs. And, those are both two guys in the same class that are both going to be here the next 2 years. And so, that position has become a position of strength and depth for us. Well, in 24, it was a huge loss for us. We lost him right before the season opener. He was healthy for 2 weeks in the middle of the season, and then we lost him again the first play of the Longview game for the remainder of the season. The 2 weeks that he was healthy were our two greatest offensive games of the year, and I don't think that's a coincidence. So, Carter, his versatility is the biggest thing, and he's a big, physical, strong athlete, but he's sort of equal parts running back and receiver. So what you'll see with Carter this year is a guy that we're going to play him all over the field. He'll be in the backfield at running back some of the time. He'll be a slot receiver some of the time. We'll have the ability to move him inside and outside. And it's honestly, it's really cool as an offensive guy to be able to come up with ways to get him the ball, And so we're excited about having Carter healthy. We have enough depth this year that we're going to take a little bit of load off him early in the year because he had a few nagging injuries in the spring, and we want him. He's coming into the season healthy, and we want to keep him healthy. So we'll take a little bit of load off of him early in the season, but we expect him to have just a tremendous impact for us.
Yeah, I want to ask you about some the underclassmen always seem to play a role. Mm-hmm. That's the deal with high school football. We have seniors moving on. We have people that have to take on new responsibilities, and we're asked to move different mm-hmm. places. But just the underclassmen overall, not anybody specific unless you want to name anybody, but just how much fast you see them maturing right now.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of opportunities for the underclassmen to come up and make too much of a splash simply because there's so many guys back. The majority of our players are back from last year that saw the lion's share of playing time. But what I can say is the incoming junior class is a really good class. They've been a really good class all the way through, and there are going to be, probably too many names to get into right now, but there are going to be a lot of names that people aren't all that familiar with right now that are going to they'll become familiar with them. And then the incoming sophomore class is also a really strong class. It was an 8-2 freshman team last year. Very easily could have been a 10-0 freshman team. And, but because of our depth, we only have 3 sophomores playing on the varsity going into the season. Now, there are some other guys waiting in the wings that we can move up if we need to. And if you're a sophomore on the varsity and for this team, then you've got the potential to be really special because of the depth that we have.
Looking at the schedule, coaches, how do you evaluate early on the games when we know that, hey, it's kind of a preseason because still, even though it counts towards the record, but what matters most is getting ready for district. But how do you kind of evaluate, when you're taking on a heavy schedule like that?
Yeah, so what we talk about with our kids is that win or lose, we don't want to define the quality of our team in non-district by wins or losses either way. We could go 4-0 in non-district, and we wouldn't necessarily know what kind of team we've had. We could go 0-4 in non-district. And by the way, my teams have gone 0-4 in non-district before and played in the state quarterfinals, so we've been there. But our goal is to get better each week, and we want to play people that are going to make us better each week. So, you can't play people that are going to make you better without the risk of getting a loss or, in some cases, getting embarrassed. So because of that, I've always believed in playing good people. We want people to expose our weaknesses. We want people to show us what we have to get better at for the games that count. And when you play the poor teams, the poor programs, in front of empty stadiums on Thursday nights, it's difficult to do that, And so we're excited about the schedule. Highland Park has lost 2 games at home since Coach Allen has been there since '99. And so it's an unbelievable home record. So what an opportunity to go in and give them home loss number 3. Prosper has a ton of guys coming back off a really, really good football team last year. They've got 5 Division I offensive linemen. So I think, that's going to be just a tremendous test physically for us this coming year. And then we play San Juan Hills, California, week 3, which is a Southern California powerhouse. It's going to be a really, really fun environment, sort of a Texas versus California deal. But there's another roster that's loaded with big time talent. So, it's going to be a lot of fun for us. And I know this after 3 weeks this year, for sure, we're going to have a really good idea of what we've got to work on and the things that maybe we're pretty good at.
Coach, you yourself have quite the resume, and congratulations once again on being honored this summer at the coaches convention. Does it get old, Coach? You've been doing it a little while, and it's got to take some fire in you to keep coming back and to keep wanting it. But how do you approach each season after you've been doing it a little while?
Well, the answer to the first question is no. It really never gets old. It really never does. Every year there's this kind of a tingle that you get when you're getting ready to start the season, and so from that standpoint, I'll be as fired up when I get up early Monday morning for our first practice. I'll be as excited as I've ever been before. And I do think that the amount of experience that I have helps in a lot of respects, and that I've just seen most everything, and there are very few things anymore that surprise me, that overwhelm me, because I've been around. But it's awesome to have a staff like we have at Heath. It's as good of a staff as I've been around. The quality of the guys, and the men that they are, and the example that they are for our kids are impeccable. And so for sure at this point in my career, I've gotten pretty good at leaning on those guys and empowering them to do the job they've been hired to do.
Coach Webb, I appreciate your time. I know things move fast, and I can't believe school's about to start again. And it's always fun to have football back out here on Friday nights, and then it's fun to watch it on Saturdays and Sundays as well if you're a football fan like I am. So good luck to you guys, Coach. I wish you all the best health and health-wise, and congratulations. I know you've got a grandchild coming, and so that's just another great way to kick off the school year for you, I'm sure.
For sure. I appreciate that. And it's all coming at one time too. So.
Coach Webb, head coach of the Rockwall Heath Hawks, and good luck to you guys, and look forward to seeing you here in a week or two.
Thank you. I appreciate it.